Today on American Blacksmith, we're going to go over finished metalworks from MacDonald Blacksmith Shop in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is part one, and we'll probably have two more parts to the finished works and show you various samples. This is a heavy forged table base with hand hammered copper top and clavos. Here's one of our lizard fireplace stands. We've got ram's head on the tools themselves, and then we often just hang a tool from the tongue here. This is one of the corbels that we made for Marco Island, Florida estate. The top here is where there would have been the marble top. This is one of our Spanish style candle holders with raised piercings and a handmade rose. This is a chest set that I built in 1986. I carved all the pieces hot. The board weighs about 180 pounds. Made the stools with black walnut tops on them. Here's one of the prototypes that I carved for the chest set. Here's the bishop. This was a prototype for the king. And here we have the queen. Here we have the rook. It's been hollowed out, and all the bricks were carved with a hot cut. Forging here on the 500-pound hammer, some twisted material. Here we are with our portable forge unit up in Colorado estate. There was a blizzard 2 days before this, and we were doing an install during the blizzard, and the owners really loved that. Here's a gate that we did for a trucking company owner. He insisted on having his new fleet of trucks. I thought I was going to be building a Gothic style gate for him, so he really threw me off on this concept. But it turned out well. We didn't want to split it up into two wings, and we put his dog back here watching him drive off. We have a lake back here, so we put in a pond and all the cattails and fishes and that sort of thing. And then this tree extends above the frame of the gate, and the smoke from the stack attaches here, and another tree back into here, and it's all supports each other. And then hundreds of rivets. Here's a close-up of the front end of the truck. We built a gas tank with a step in it, built the hubbed out wheels, lights. Here's a smokestack. This gate was built with a group of guys headed by Francis Whitaker of Aspen, Colorado. It was for the city of Dayton, Ohio. It was a flood memorial gate, a flood that wiped out North Dayton in 1910, something like that. And it was a giant weather map. And Francis and I thought it was a really weird idea at first, but it worked out. And all traditional connections everywhere. And later on it was painted, but I never got to see it installed. This is a 14-foot conference table, granite top, in an old hacienda in Old Town, Albuquerque. And we made the chairs, the leather backs. And this was a complicated design because we couldn't have obstructions underneath the table, yet we had to hold up 14 feet of granite. So we collared everything in place. One of the chairs, nice twists in the 1-inch square material here. And then this material was all textured for the frame. Traditional connections here. Back to one of the chairs. Upholstered. And then dimpled connections all in here. Countersunk. Forging a 1.5-inch solid table leg on the 150-pound hammer. Another application here with our portable forging unit at an institution, and we're making temporary hinges for temporary gates. Here I'm up in a lift in an archway dealing with the chains for some 8-foot lamps that we were restoring. This was at Detroit Institute of Arts. We did 2 major projects over the years there. Over the years, I've often done detailing for other metalsmith companies, and here I flew to Wyoming to do the silicon bronze leaf work for a gate that went to a bank in Utah. Here's a copper hand-planished sink that we made. So everything was hand-hammered ahead of time. There are no seams and rivets. And it follows every curve and bull nose in the entire top. Hand-hammered, planished copper sink. We actually hollowed out a big log with a chainsaw to make this impression. So this is all out of one piece. We did all the hardware for the cabinets and the carvings. And this opens up into a mirror. Another copper sink that was made for a lodge up in Colorado. And later on in our Copper Works session, we will show you the finished installation. And here, in this case, we had a square sink, and we'll show you how we did the forms and the molds so we could shape everything. But this is all one piece, no seams or rivets. Heavy bar stool with an oak top, and it has a swivel. You don't have to worry about anybody throwing this thing at you. A traditional looking style footstool with all traditional connections, tenons, rivets. Butcher box, wine rack stand. This is a 150-year-old bowling alley that we took apart, put back together. This top is removable with these big knobs here, so you can take it off and clean it. This back rack is also removable, and we made all the different utensils. Small chandelier with the client's motif or pattern symbol that they wanted and everything. And we have some of our hardware plates, strike plates. These are copper light covers for a bridge at an estate that we worked on for years. And we built these lamps with 180 connections in the armature underneath. Similar to building a statue. You have to have a strong armature to be able to withstand the conditions in the wind. Another view of one of the copper light stands. There's glass in the top, and the owners loved driving across the bridge when it was snowing because they could see everything. When we do a major project like this involving multiple lamps, we'll go ahead and make a prototype, a model, and this can show how it was all connection. Models and prototypes. Here's a lamp that we made for Scottsdale, Arizona estate, and it went into a jacuzzi room, so we needed it plated, and that's what you can do with this type of forged work. You don't have to just stick with the old traditional black iron, you can plate these things in nickel, brass, copper. A lamp for Santa Fe, New Mexico. We did several of these for an entranceway. Represent all the leaf work. Put a nice patina and seed glass. Weather vane that I made for the Santa Fe Opera. Don Giovanni. So I put a welded rose here, broken heart here, and the cape added a lot of more wind movement. Weather vane of Payne Stewart I was asked to make for a publishing company owner. We dimpled a little round ball in here, got his putter, and airbrushed everything. Twisting a large piece of angle iron, actually. The one after this I did was 8 foot long, and it all has to be done in one heat because I don't believe that you can come back and heat these things and get them tight. Samples of reprise work for restoration. This was a destroyed leaf for a 8 foot lamp. This is the pattern when we start, laying out the lines, and then this is all done cold on raising stakes, embossing, planishing. This is a bar foot rail here that we did for an estate in Telluride, Colorado. And all this wide stock here is all hand hammered, but then there's a fat upset edge all the way across the top because the other existing metalwork all had that. And we did this all in one piece here, and the templates were made properly because this thing fit right into place. A client had these huge oak driveway doors, garage doors built, and he didn't think they had any definition. So we built this contemporary style hardware, but it all had to be put in a certain way so that the automatic door would fold up. Stainless steel wall sculpture for the president of Cooper Tire. He didn't like staring at this brick wall in the mornings, so he wanted something interesting. Detail of the stainless steel sculpture. The challenge here is to make your wall connections without them being seen, but this was a place where he would sit and relax, and so I put a snail in here for him. Gothic style door. Did all the hardware with our little Maltese piercings that I like to use. All the clavos. A copper fountain for a hospice center. We forged all the copper leaves, represent all these large copper, and water comes out of all these flowers. Close up of the memorial fountain. You can see where we have the daisies here with the water coming out, and then the big lily leaves here. And we have the blueprints to show you later on the foundations and the drawings that we have to get approval for a public installation. This is a forged bronze cottage latch or cot latch. It's got spring loaded. Thanks for watching American Blacksmith. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on part 2 of our finished metalworks.